this video, I'm just going to say a disclaimer. If you have not beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake, any of the compilation, and I don't know, if you're living under a rock, no, but seriously though, you will be spoiled if you haven't played any of these games. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about everything. And on that note, today I saw a little bit of a piece from Ever Crisis, and it goes like this. The live stream contains the memories of all. At times, it even links to the memories of worlds across time and space, and thus a portal is created. So there are these lingering, burning questions that people have thought about for over 3 years now. This development of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I believe, will be worth it in the end, as far as gameplay looks very, very amazing. The openness of, the map and all that looks really, really solid. Everything looks great. The battle system looks improved, and Final Fantasy VII Remake's battle was pretty great, and it looks like it's going to be better. So we have that. There are burning questions that have to do with the story, and the first one would be, what really is the deal with the Whispers? Sephiroth basically absorbed them in his butt cheeks. Nah, but after you defeat them in Remake, you would naturally go to, okay, we defeated them. They serve their purpose to break the chains that the developers felt as far as the pressure to recreate the original game to a T, 1-to-1. They didn't want to be under those constraints. And if you look back, it kind of makes sense. Someone who grew up with the original, obviously I have some caution. I'm pretty cautious with it. I've thought about it for years, and I'm holding out hope that this is going to turn out to be really good. But we have to see, because it could easily be a train wreck if they are not careful, and we'll go into this a little bit more. So Sephiroth absorbed the Whispers, and there have been articles recently saying that they're not done with the Whispers, which kind of makes sense. Originally I thought they were going to be gone, but then I'm like, nah, they'll probably bring them back for something. They haven't really explained exactly what the deal is now with them, exactly what they are. It's been very vague. So what type of role will the Whispers play in Rebirth and onward? Will we do more of the goofy stuff they did with Barrett at the Shinra building? I hope not. That was pretty lame. Barrett's amazing, and he deserves better than that. That's just a little nitpick right there that I have off the top of my head. What is the outcome of basically unshackling themselves from their fates? The whole party at the end of the game, there was this big exposition dump, if you want to call it that. They did a really good job with the pacing in most of the game, aside from all the sewers as far as Remake. Anyway, that being said, we knew something was up. And every single time my first playthrough of the game, when I seen those shadowy figures, the Whispers themselves, I was just kind of like, what the F is this? Essentially. Every single time, and then Aerith starts spouting some nonsense about fates and all that. So I'm like, oh man, like that was my initial thing with it, and then it started growing on me a little bit. I just want to be open-minded. It's been very hard to get to this point for me. I had fun with Remake. However, the original game is very, very precious in my heart, and I understand that they need to do certain things to make it more modern, but also there are some things that happened in the original that definitely needed to be improved on. So anyway, we clearly are out of Midgar, and we will see what happens at this point. They unshackled themselves from their own fate, and common questions still arise. What will change within the characters themselves and their world? So will they be totally different in certain aspects? It's a very real possibility, just because if you're messing with fate and the original way the structure is supposed to be with what goes on in these people's lives, there will be changes. I mean, that seems like that would be a natural scenario to get to, but we just have to see. So that's a real thing. And then, are there multiple timelines? I mean, like, it really seems like there are right now. Multiple timelines can be a huge train wreck if they are not careful. Everything that I've seen, it seems like they're going over these parts of the game that you see in the original that they have expanded upon clearly with love. They are going over everything with love, but I don't know if that will necessarily be enough to get to where they want to get to, which is surpass the original. That's what they're trying to do. We'll see if they can pull it off. So, it seems like it's a meeting of worlds, as the developers described not long ago, and it will come to a head and merge as one. That's what it seems like to me, and I don't know exactly how they're going to do that. Here is another question that lingers in people's minds because they've left it so ambiguous, which is what they do, especially in the whole Final Fantasy VII lore. People like to act like this game has set in stone things with every single character. The way they wrote everything is pretty ambiguous in a lot of ways, which is why people argue so much over this game, in my opinion, at times, which is fine. So we run into those issues a little bit. But this question, is Zack truly alive? The developers say he's alive, so it's pretty confirmed, but like I said, we shall see. Is it the live stream? Is it memories? Or is it still a completely different timeline? These are questions that a lot of people think they know the answers to. You see so many theories, but nobody really truly knows. And you hope that the developers, they pull all of this off, because there's a way that it could go in my mind that will make it perfect, but it's very rarely the way that anybody truly thinks it's going to go. They're making their own story, their own game, their own twist on a classic. So we shall see what happens. Here's another burning question that clearly everyone wants to know. We're getting to that point where the game's going to come out very, very soon, actually. Time will fly before you know it. It's 2024, and then you just gotta wait until the end of February for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Everybody's been wondering, what are they going to do with the next two games, because it's a trilogy. And so finally we're gonna get some more answers, and it's really been crappy to wait this whole time. And Square Enix were cheeky with all this a little bit. And I can go into more detail about that another time, but they were clever, and they did get people talking about the next games in the series for over 3 years now, so their plan worked. Anyway, this question is, will Aerith still die, or will she survive this time, or is she already dead? Those are three viable ways to look at it, three viable questions. A lot of people think that she's still gonna die because they don't want to let go of the old game. I am of the belief that there's a very good possibility that she survives this time because of everything that's going on, all the context clues and things like that's happening. But it could very well be the gray area that I mentioned, meaning somehow it's almost like an Auron from Final Fantasy X moment. In another timeline, she's technically already dead, and her spirit is being sent from the live stream in some way, because we know that she's getting visions of the future and stuff in Remake. Is that really visions of the future, or is it something else? We really don't know, but the survival thing seems a bit too happy for Final Fantasy VII and her legacy, and very risky. However, I would not be surprised if they keep her alive. In fact, I'm probably about 60% now that she's going to stay alive in one way or another. Not to mention, if it's multiple timelines, that would mean that there are multiple characters essentially. Copies. That's just what it seems like. I don't exactly know. Clearly, we all don't. And we also know that there are technically 2 clouds at this point. But hey, that might be something that we're not thinking of either. At the end of the day, this is going to be a pivotal decision that they make in this next game. Everybody knows it. To the point to where people are on Twitter harassing Kazushige Nojima, is that his name? I have to look up how to pronounce this. I might need to correct myself. But harassing him, wanting Aerith to definitely die, because why? Now I'm very adamant on them keeping things similar to the original game still. I was never opposed to changes. That being said, it's their game. This is what they want to do. Don't be an idiot and harass people on Twitter. There's a lot of crazies in the Final Fantasy VII fandom, and I just wanted to bring that up briefly. Man, why would you do something like that? Let them tell the story they want to tell. Maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. That's it. Anyway, we are going to get to the end of this, and to wrap this all up, I'd just like to say that I am very, very much looking forward to playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth when it drops. Now, I've been indifferent a little bit on some of the story changes and some of the things that did happen. I've never shied away from that. However, this game looks absolutely awesome, and I'm hoping for the best when it comes to the story and whatever changes that they are doing. I want them to knock it out of the park. I've been a fan of Final Fantasy VII and its lore, aside from a couple spots, but of its lore for over 20 years now, it seems, and I absolutely love these characters. And so, at this point, Square had the bait, and they hooked pretty much anyone who loved the original game, regardless how indifferent you may have felt when you hit the end and you saw the credits roll to Final Fantasy VII Remake. We've still been here. We acquiesce. We may have shied away, we may have needed a break or whatever to try to process it all. And it's tough love. We just want to see our childhood done right, if that makes any sense. A lot of people may not understand, but we are all Final Fantasy VII fans at the end of the day, whether you're new, old, whatever. And I'm going to end this video with saying that. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I appreciate it. And here's to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let's go.